In left with Billy Hatcher moving to center. Gerald Young has a tight hamstring. Kevin Bass in right field. Young, who raced around the outfield last night, noticed that he had a little tightness late in Monday night's ball game and played with it last night. He gets a rest with the off day coming up tomorrow. Scott 4-0, and last 2 times out he has not had a decision, both times against Montreal, so he's anxious to get back on the winning track tonight. Bruce?
He still comes in with a good record, 4-0, 56 innings pitched, 38 hits, 13 runs. He's among the league leaders in innings pitched and wins. He leads the league in strikeouts. Still been a good year. It was his best April ever.
Yes, it was. And Scott, with those 56 innings, again getting a lot of innings in early in the season. Dykstra, Backman, Hernandez, Strawberry, Mazzilli in left, Carter, Howard Johnson, Elster, and Gooden in Davy Johnson's lineup. The Mets are 22-8. They lead the Pirates by 2.5. The Astros 17-13. They're 3 games behind the Dodgers as play begins tonight. And the rubber game of the series, the Mets won last night 5-2 behind David Cone. The Astros took the opener 6-2 behind Danny Darwin. Lenny Dykstra with a 5-game hitting streak at .353. 3 homers, 8 runs batted in. He rips one to right. Bass at the warning track, still going back. 1 out. A little Dykstra gave it a long ride, and Scott opens with a fly ball out.
Well, it's an accomplishment to get Dykstra out so far. He has really been hot lately.
At .447 over his last dozen ball games, he's out number 1. And now Backman, who gets a start at second as Teufel gets a little rest. Backman making his 7th start. And he is hitting .143. Switch hitter as a left-handed batter, 2 for 16. He takes a strike. Bruce Fremming is calling the balls and strikes. It's Terry Tata at first, Jerry Davis at second, and Gary Darling at third. Both of Scott's wins against the Mets have come in the Dome. A bunt to Glenn Davis, bunted too hard, and Backman tags himself out, so to speak. 2 out.
Well, it's really tough to do that on the turf unless you get the ball away from the first baseline. If you can bunt it at the second baseman and it gets by the pitcher, then you pretty much have an infield base hit.
Now Keith Hernandez having a red-hot series. He's 5 for 9 in the 2 games played previously. He has extended his hitting streak to 9 games, and during those 9 games he's hit a smoking .500 to move up close to the .300 mark. He's 4th in the league in runs batted in with 23. Hernandez on a tear. And he's only hitting .500 this season against the Astros overall. 7 for 14. Scott delivers a strike. 0-1. Last start for Mike Scott in Montreal. He lasted 5 1/3, giving up 8 hits and 4 runs. He'd like to get victory number 3 against the Mets in his career. 0-2, and the former Met had a good split finger there.
Oh, and Hernandez is talking to himself there. I think that Scotty opened Hernandez's eyes with that pitch. A good split finger, dropped off the table.
Scott leading the league in strikeouts with 58. And there's number 59 as he opens with a 1-2-3 first. Ashby tags him. Mets out in order. The Astros coming up in a scoreless game. Gooden works to Carter, Johnson, Elster, Backman, Hernandez on the infield, Mazzilli, Dykstra, and Strawberry in the outfield as Kevin McReynolds takes a rest in left. And Dwight Gooden off to a sensational start this season, 6-0 with a 2.21 ERA, tied with Orel Hershiser atop the league's victory list so far. Bruce?
Well, he's thrown 53 innings, only 5 less than Scotty. He's got 4 complete games, given up only 1 home run this year, struck out 38, which is a little lower than you might expect for those innings from his performances in the past. But he's been concentrating on control, been getting both his fastball and his curveball over, and the 6-0 record is evidence he's having a good year so far.
Yes, he is. Hatcher, Doran, and Poole, Davis, Bass, Walling, Ashby, Ramirez, and Scott for Hal Lanier's ball club. Billy Hatcher with a homer, 12 runs batted in, is at .276. The curve in for a strike. Hatcher last year 2 for 2 against Gooden. The word is that Gooden's velocity is back up to about 95 this year. Tap foul. No balls, 2 strikes. That's all the Astros wanted to hear as they prepared for this game, because Gooden did not have that great fastball last year.
Well, he looked at some videotapes of how he pitched his the Cy Young season up here when he was so great. He changed his delivery a little bit and got some velocity back.
And Hatcher hit by the pitch on 0-2. Gooden tried to brush him back off the plate and nicked him with it.
Got Billy's throwing arm. It looked like. You hope just barely nicking it.
So Hatcher now may want to put his legs to work.
Take a look and see where it hit him. And it just looked like it got the top of the elbow on the back.
Well, he's already been hit once there this season by a pitch. Right on the same spot. Hal Lanier comes out to take a look with the trainer Dave Labossiere.
That's his left arm, so at least it's not his throwing arm.
True. But already having been hit on that same spot earlier this year, maybe didn't have time to heal from the last one before he got it again. Hatcher shrugs it off. He is tied for 6th in the league in stolen bases with 11. And the Astros have been running in this series. Last night they stole twice, including Hatcher's 11th of the season. Billy Doran moves up into the number 2 spot with Terry Poole batting 3rd tonight. Doran has 13 runs batted in, a .240 average. Safe at first is the call from Terry Tata. Hatcher goes diving back in.
Doran in his career has hit .308 against Gooden. Hatcher .364. So a couple of pretty good guys to have at the top of the lineup.
Hatcher has a big lead. Johnson even with the bag at 3rd. Another quick move to first by Gooden. Gooden's last time out, he had no decision as the Mets beat the Reds 4-3 at Shea. He allowed 11 hits in 9 innings in that game and 2 earned runs. That was the 2nd time this year he allowed 11 hits in a ball game. And that's the high hit total he has allowed in a ball game in his career. But yet he's had the good offensive support, so he's been winning. Gooden had a string of 20 consecutive scoreless innings that was broken in that last ball game. Hatcher's going. A pitch, a ball. Carter's throw, not in time. Hatcher gets stolen base number 12.
Now Carter not as good a job getting rid of that one as we've seen him do earlier in the series. You almost have to play this one from the start like a 1-run ball game. That just took Gary a long time to get rid of that one.
Pitch was outside, just where he wanted it. Doran 5 for his last 26, now with a different mission to get Hatcher to 3rd base in a scoreless game. And the high chop should do it. Charging Elster, and it's a base hit.
Boy, that was almost a moonshot. Doran was on the bag before the infielder even touched the ball. Making those plates out of hard rubber these days. Billy's saying, oh, no, a chopper, but I don't think he realized at first how high that one bounced.
It really did. That's as high a bouncer as we've seen so far this year. Terry Poole at 222, looking for his first RBI of the season with Glenn Davis on deck. Hatcher at 3rd, Doran at first base. Nobody out in a scoreless ball game last of the 1st. Gooden makes the check on Doran. Billy has not been thrown out. He's 6 for 6 in steals. The Astros, with that steal by Hatcher, now have 54 this season. They lead the National League. And they're 11 games ahead of their 1980 club record pace for stolen bases. Doran is going. The pitch is strike. Carter does not throw. Stolen base for Doran. He is 7 for 7.
Well, that was some respect for Billy Hatcher's speed and the team's overall speed. Hasn't been a good series for throwing Astros out. It's still kind of demoralizing for a pitcher when you just give a guy second base.
Yes, it is. 0-1 the count on Poole. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Gooden, like most power pitchers, is easier to run on than another sort of pitcher, so it's not all that unusual, and Mike Scott the same way. He now will bear down and try to get a strikeout if he can on Poole. Poole 2 for 16 lifetime against Gooden. Dykstra comes in. Hatcher preparing to tag at third. He just draws a throw and stops. 1 out.
I think maybe if there'd already been 1 out, Hatcher may have tested him on that one.
Well, you saw the broken bat, and Dykstra playing deep had a full head of steam up as he came in to catch that ball. Of course, with Glenn Davis coming up next, they'll wait for Glenn to swing the bat.
I think that's one of the main reasons that they didn't go, because Glenn still has the chance to get the run in.
Well, here's a confrontation right off the bat. Davis at 271, 7 homers, tied for the league lead in runs batted in with 26. He's 9th in slugging percentage at .514. But Gooden has done a good job against Davis in his career. Glenn 3 for 25 against Doc.
Doc's going to be careful with him, too, with first base open.
It gets behind Carter, but not far enough for Hatcher to score. Ball 1. Kevin Bass is on deck, and he's the hot hitter on the Astros. There's the job that Gooden has done. In 12 starts against the Astros, he has those 9 wins, and as you saw, 5 complete games. His only loss to them was in 1984, 10-1 in New York.
Yeah, he threw 2 1/3 innings and gave up 8 runs. Probably hasn't pitched that bad more than a couple of times in his entire career.
Right about that. 1 ball and no strikes on Davis. Scoreless game with 2 on and 1 out. High fastball, 2-0.
See Carter setting up the target, middle of the plate again. When you've got a pitcher whose ball moves a lot, pitching coaches will tell him, just throw it around the plate and let the natural movement of the pitch catch one of the corners.
That's what they say Gooden was doing last year to a better advantage than in previous years. There's a bouncer that'll get a run home. Hatcher scores as Backman throws out Davis. So Glenn gets the first RBI, number 27 of the season for him, and the Astros lead 1-0. That looked like a smart piece of hitting. He just went for the run and not necessarily for a long fly ball or a base hit.
Well, last night when they pitched him outside, he lined a base hit to right center. He's been trying to go with the pitches a little more. With the infielders playing back, he knew all he had to do was get the ball in play to get the run in. And 1 run could mean a lot with either one of these guys on the mound.
Yes, it could. Kevin Bass, 3-game hitting streak, 7 for his last 13. He looks at a strike. He has 19 runs batted in, ranking 6th in the league in RBIs, and he's been a good hitter against Gooden in his career to the tune of .313. Red hot in this series. He's the first Astro with back-to-back 3-hit games this season. Here comes the runner, Doran. He's stealing home, and he's safe. Billy Doran steals home. 2-0 Astros.
Oh, what a play. Yeah, what a break he got. Carter didn't like the call, and from him says, you didn't get the tag on the guy. Said his foot touched the plate first. Yeah, here comes Doran, sliding for the inside part of the plate. Oh, that was a close play. Now see, Carter sees him coming. Boy, tough to tell.
Standing ovation for the play by Doran. What a jump. The slide is what got it for him.
Yeah, sliding the hook slide to the inside part of the plate. And I think Fremming might have been screened a little bit by Carter jumping out in front of him, too. Carter gets out of the box there quicker than any catcher I've seen in a long time. And you'd think sooner or later that would get him in trouble reaching out for pitches on steal attempts.
Well, that's the second steal of home for the Astros this season. Terry Poole did it earlier.
Yeah, but that was a double steal on Poole's.
Right. This one just a straight single steal of home. Right out in full view of a screaming crowd. 2 balls and 2 strikes. What a daring play by Doran. And tough call for Fremming. Fast down on strikes. That makes the steal even bigger as Gooden gets his first strikeout. For the Astros, 2 runs on only 1 hit. With 3 stolen bases. Umpire very rarely has that call to make. Made a little bit easier by a left-handed batter. Here's Strawberry now at 317. Looking at a ball inside from Mike Scott. Strawberry tied for the league lead with 9 homers, 21 RBIs, ranking also in the top 10. But hitless in this series. And a pop-up. A mile high into left field. Ramirez looks to Poole. 1 out. So Strawberry, 3rd in the league in slugging percentage, is a 4th straight man, retired by Scott. And now Mike with the early 2-0 lead behind the hustling Astros. Tries to keep that lead, facing Lee Mazzilli. Mazzilli's a 125 hitter with 3 runs batted in. This is his 4th start in left field this season. Last time against Atlanta, he was 2 for 3 with 2 runs batted in. Last night, Mazzilli came up as a pinch hitter, delivered a sacrifice fly in the 3-run 8th for the Mets. There's ball 1 to Lee Mazzilli. Well, the Astros certainly got the crowd stirred up, scoring 2 runs with just 1 base hit. And the base hit never left the infield. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, you talked about it being the 2nd steal of home this year for the Astros. Poole on the double steal earlier. Before that, Astros hadn't stolen home since 1981 when Louis Pujols did it.
2 balls and a strike. Well, you talk to some of the great base stealers, and some of them will tell you that stealing home is for amateurs. 3 balls and a strike. You would not call Billy Doran an amateur, but what they're saying is that the Lou Brocks and the Maury Wills very seldom tried to steal home because they are watched every moment. Doran far to his left. On to Davis. 2 outs.
Rod Carew was good at it.
Yes, he was. He was one of the few who really became proficient.
Here's the pitch to Mazzilli, 3-1 pitch, fastball. Lee turned on it, but hit it on the ground, and the vacuum cleaner over there picked it up.
Gary Carter now, as Scott has retired the 5 to face him so far, is a 287 with 7 homers. He's driven in 17, hitting .302 over his last 25 ball games. Carter takes a strike from Scott. 0-1. This has been such a series between these 2 clubs going back to the 1986 season and going back to their very first years in the league, 1962, as expansion clubs. 1 ball and 1 strike. But never more exciting than in the last few years. Carter 2 for 5 in this series with a couple of runs batted in. He fouls that one outside third. 1 and 2. He had the game-winning RBI last night and a couple of clutch base hits. A double in the 6th inning to get the first run in, and a single in the 8th to score another one. Mike Scott, the former Met, with 85 wins in his career, and lifetime at the Dome, he's 43 and 23. Strike 3 call. Scott's 2nd strikeout. He has retired the first 6. And the Astros lead after an inning and a half, 2-0. Against the native of Tampa, Dwight Gooden. We're happy to have the folks in the Florida State, the Sunshine Network, on tonight watching our ball game. There's the strike. Walling 1 for his last 10. He does have a couple of home runs off Gooden, though, in his career. 1-1. He's still trying to get his stroke back together after missing some games with an injury, and he said, "This is all I need to face the doc tonight to try to get it back."
Well, he was out for almost a week. That's a long time for a hitter
2 balls and a strike. Gooden is 4th on the Mets all-time victory list with 79 at the age of 23.
You don't realize how young he is.
No, you don't. 3-1 because since that Rookie of the Year season, 1984, of course, it seems like he has been around for a while, but because of that, folks think he's a little bit older.
Well, he made his first major league start right here in the Astrodome, April 7th of 1984. Got the win in a 3-2 Mets victory through 5 innings, allowed 3 hits, 1 run, walked a couple, and struck out 4.
Walling just got a piece of it. 3-2 remains the count.
But you talk to Doc, and he'll tell you he remembers how nervous he was before that game. Had a hard time sleeping the night before, and he woke up that morning. He was so nervous, didn't know what to do, and the team was staying at the Marriott Astrodome, about a mile from here.
Hernandez, Gooden, Walling is out number 1.
The hotel's relatively close, and Gooden was so wound up and nervous he decided he'd walk to the ballpark. It's only about a mile, but he got lost, and it took him 3 hours to get here. He came in the back way and had to climb over an 8-foot fence to get in.
That's a long way around. Alan Ashby at 227 has driven in 13 with 3 home runs, all of them batting from the left side. And as a left-handed hitter, he has an on-base average of 344 and a slugging percentage of 474. Gets underneath that breaking pitch for Backman. 2 out. Well, this is the 5th regular season matchup between Gooden and Scott. Gooden 3-0 with a no decision against Scott in those 4 previous. Now Ramirez with 2 outs. 219 his average with a homer. He's driven in 7. Rafael 1 for 6 in this series with an RBI. Ball 1, 1-0. It'll be interesting to find out after the game about that steal of home by Doran and whether the Astros, as Enos Cabell thinks, may have picked up the way Gooden might be tipping his pitches. 2 balls and no strikes, and of course that can really be a factor. Just a little thing like that Hal Lanier might have noticed, or somebody else on the bench, to put that speed to use. And Ramirez still trying to struggle a little bit and get himself on track. Mike Scott in the on-deck circle, 2-0 Astros.
I bet you if Doran gets on third again that Dwight will pitch out of the stretch.
He should, because he has that very long windup, and it just takes him so long to get to that point of delivery that Doran took advantage of it. Strawberry moves in for the catch to retire the side. The Astros out in order in the 2nd, and through 2, the Astros are on top 2-0. Now in the 3rd inning, it's Howard Johnson leading it off. 2-0 Astros. Taking a ball high. Johnson at 196 in a slow start for him. 5 homers. He's driven in 15. 13 of those RBIs have come in his last 7 games. But the Astros have pitched him well in this series. He is 0 for 7 in the last 2 games. 2 balls and no strikes to Johnson, and he's tied for 4th in the league in walks with 19. So he'll look at a pitch. We'll see in this situation whether he does. 2-0 count. And he's ripping away. Bass retires him. 1 out in the 3rd. Scores of other games this afternoon in 10. The Cubs beat San Diego 1-0. Greg Maddux retired the last 20 batters. He's 6-2, beating Lance McCullers is 0-3. Vance Law got the winning run home on a squeeze bunt, scoring Mark Grace with 1 out in the 10th inning. The Padres continue to have their run-scoring problems. Kevin Elster at 233, 3 homers, 11 runs batted in. In his last 16 games, he's hit .327 and driven in 7. He hit a ball a long way last night to the center field fence, and Gerald Young crashed into it and made the catch. There's ball 1.
Talk about the Padres having trouble scoring runs. I think that one run was the Cubs' 150th of the year, and the Padres have scored half that many. That's a big discrepancy.
Yes, it is. Wrigley Field or no. Strike call to Elster, 1-1 the count. Atlanta beat Montreal 3-2. Kevin Kaufman got the win, 2-2, beating Neil Heaton, who's 0-2, and Bruce Sutter got his third save. Sutter on the way back. A one-hopper to Walling. Takes extra time and gets Elster. That's 8 straight retired by Scott. No automatic out next with Gooden, though. He's hitting 200. He's 4 for 20 this season with 4 runs batted in.
He had a 3-game hitting streak.
Yes, he did.
How often do you say that about a pitcher?
Not 2. Los Angeles leads Pittsburgh 1-0 in the 7th. Gooden gets the first base hit for the Mets.
Now, a pitcher will go up there a lot of times looking for the fastball first pitch. That's what Doc got. And it's what the doctor ordered.
Paying a house call to the Dome tonight. Here's a look at that swing. So Gooden, the first base runner for the Mets, and now it's Dykstra coming up. He hit a fly ball to right field back in the first inning. Dodgers have Valenzuela on the mound and Bob Walk for Pittsburgh. Walk has really gotten off to an exceptional start. 1-0 L.A. Pirates batting last of the 7th. Pirates come in next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights to conclude this homestand for the Astros. There's ball 1 to Dykstra, 1-0. Cincinnati's on top of Philadelphia, 3-1. That game in the top of the 6th inning now. Rasmussen against Raleigh. Bo Diaz has a home run, his 6th, and Phil Bradley number 1 for the Phils. The Reds are 4-0 against the Phillies this season. Poole comes in to retire the side. For the Mets in the 3rd, it's no runs on a hit. No errors, a man left after 2 1/2. The Astros scoring 2 runs with a hit batsman and an infield hit and a ground out in the 1st, as well as a steal of home. Mike Scott takes ball 1. Scott with an RBI, 3 for 19 at the plate this year, a 158 average. There's a strike call, 1-1. The Giants have the early lead over the Cardinals, 1-0 last of the 2nd. San Francisco starting to turn up the heat a little bit. Two balls and a strike to Mike Scott. He'll be followed by Hatcher and then Doran. Oakland has cooled off a little bit. Detroit beat the Athletics again today, 8-4. 3-1 to Scott.
Well, the Mets get our vote for trivial statistic of the week.
Okay.
In the game notes, they tell us how Dwight Gooden has done his entire career pitching on Wednesdays.
A strike 2 call.
If you're into biorhythms and astrology and all that, I guess maybe that's useful.
How has he done on Wednesdays, by the way?
12-5 in 23 previous starts.
He gets called, strike 3 on Scott. Number 2 for Gooden.
See, it's just trivial enough to where you're curious.
We mentioned that Detroit-Oakland final, 8-4. Guillermo Hernandez, no longer Willie. He wants to be called Guillermo. He got the win. And Dennis Eckersley, who had an ERA of 0 until today, had a tough outing. He took the loss. Tigers got 4 in the 9th. Don Baylor and Mark McGuire hit home runs. Here's Billy Hatcher taking ball 1. Number 8 for McGuire. It was a 3-run shot.
Hernandez ought to get together with Jose Uribe.
Yes. Who used to be Jose Gonzalez. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Could get that. Who was the girl way back that sang the song The Name Game?
Oh, you would come up with a question like that. That is way back.
Let's get Milo in here. He'll remember that.
He'll know it for sure. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Hatcher. Other American League scores. The Yankees, all the fuss about Billy Martin, but they really scored a lot of runs last night, and they lead the White Sox tonight 3-0 last of the 6th inning. Jack Clark has his 6th home run. Toronto Blue Jays with a 5-0 early lead over Seattle, now make it 6-0 last of the 5th. Hatcher hits a ground ball to Hernandez. 2 outs. Milwaukee and Minnesota scoreless last of the 3rd. Texas 4, Baltimore 0 last of the 2nd. Cleveland and California have a later start.
How about those Rangers?
Well, if they get the pitching, they could start to move up. But then again, Oakland is going to have to prove that the Athletics aren't quite as good as a lot of people think they are.
I guess you could say Texas is at wit's end. Sent him to Oklahoma City. Bobby Witt.
Billy Doran. He really got things stirred up with that high bouncer for an infield hit, getting Hatcher to third base. Then he stole second and stole home.
Such a daring play.
0-2. And maybe the next time the Astros put a speedy man at third, you'll see Gooden work from the stretch, as you suggested, Bruce. But for this time, it worked perfectly on a very close play. Doran down on strikes, and Gooden is rolling now. He has retired 9 in a row. Milo Hamilton joins Bruce for the middle innings on HSE. The Astros are on top of the Mets, 2-0.
Self Milo Hamilton.
All right, Bruce, thank you. And swinging and fouling it off is Backman, who bounced out in the first inning to Glenn Davis when he tried to drag bunt his way on, but he got it right down the line, right to Glenn, and it's starting off the fourth with a 2-0 ball game. Each team with a hit. Astros provided some lightning in that first inning, 3 stolen bases, including a theft of home by Doran. Swing and a miss, and I tell you, he's got everything working tonight, folks. Hernandez on deck.
1 hit and 2 runs. That's a pretty good ratio.
No balls, 2 strikes. Pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Well, if they were going to ask to take a look, I think they would have done it by now, because some of his strikeout pitches have just been, you talk about dropping, you can't drop more than that.
Scotty said before the game he didn't expect them to check because they didn't need to. They've done so well against him lately, but you may be right. If this game continues like this till later in the game, keep dropping off the table, they may do something out of frustration.
Here is Keith Hernandez, struck out swinging in the first inning. High foul out of play up to the left side. This afternoon, Vance Law with a suicide squeeze got a run home to break a scoreless game in extra innings, and the Cubs beat the Padres 1-0. Young man from Victoria, Kaufman, beat Montreal 3-2 in Atlanta. No balls and a strike. Just did slide off the corner, and boy, that was borderline. And Hernandez knows it.
He asked Bruce Frumming, where was that pitch? He's outside, right? And he says, yep. He had a question whether it was a ball because it was outside or whether it was high.
A ball and a strike. L.A. in front of the Pirates 1-0. Fernando pitching a good one against Walk. Walk can't be pitching too badly either. 1 run in 7 innings. Here's the 1-1. Too tight at the knees. 2 balls and a strike to Hernandez. Scott's one blemish was a hit by Gooden. 2 balls and a strike. Now it's 3-1. Overthrew that one a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, and Hernandez has such a good eye. Scotty got him with the split finger first time up.
3 balls and a strike. He walks him. First pass to go with 3 strikeouts. Second base runner for New York. That's that game we were talking about when Vance Law squeezed a run home in the extra inning game. That's the game where Kaufman from Victoria beat Montreal. And Detroit slowed down Oakland again. Eckersley finally lost a game.
Well, Oakland had won 14 in a row, and then they lose 2 in 24 hours.
Strawberry flied to left in the second inning. A drive to center. Hatcher back. He's going to watch it go out of here. Oh, did he hit it. 8 rows up into the pavilion to the left of the big chute. 1 swing has tied it. 10 home runs for Strawberry.
And it's the first home run Scotty's given up in 46 innings. Going back over 5 starts. Well, you knew this guy was going to explode sooner or later. You just hoped it was later.
So the lead has disappeared, and we're tied at 2. For the Mets, who lead the league in homers, that's their 39th. For the Astros staff, their 17th Gopher ball.
That looks like it's about the same place that Glenn hit that one off Doc in the playoffs. Man, he let him get those arms extended.
Yep. Here is Mazzilli. One swing by Strawberry ties it after a walk. A little inside. Fremming right now is squeezing Scotty, and noticeably. A couple of the pitches on Hernandez were borderline. The first pitch to Mazzilli was. 1 ball and no strikes. Now it's 1-1. Mazzilli in the second inning tried to get one through the right side, and Doran with a good quick step over. Here's Mazzilli's swing. Corkscrew.
That's not a big cut, is it?
High foul down the right side. Fans waiting for it. Bass down there to watch it go up there, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rasmussen has a lead over Raleigh at Philly. Reds 3, Phillies 1. Phillies continue to have problems. Here's the 1-2 to Mazzilli. Down and away, 2-2. Carter due up next. Mets 2 runs, 2 hits. Astros 2 runs, 1 hit. Our ball game is in the 4th. Foul down the right side. Skips into our dugout, and that chases him out of there. Andahar was the first guy off the bench. He and Anderson both threw today, so we're hoping that tomorrow, which is the test, if you feel good, that's one thing, but how you are the next day is the big test. Here's the pitch. Looping fly ball, right center, will drop. 2 straight hits and a walk. So Mazzilli is on.
All of a sudden, in this inning, Scotty seems to have lost some of his edge.
And he was, and it looked like he had everything the way he struck out Bachman. Here's Carter. Called down on strikes in the second inning. He's 2 for 10 in this series. He's having a great start. Mazzilli going. The throw down will be late. Doran had to scoop it. Oh, he almost stepped away. He thought the ball had gone behind him for a moment. Doran gave him a pretty good deke.
Veterans will do that sometimes. The ball will be in the dirt, and the base runner, because he's sliding, won't know where it is. They'll think maybe it's gone into the outfield.
24 stolen bases for them. Second for Mazzilli.
See, Mazzilli has no idea where the ball is right there. Then he's saying timeout, and whoop, I didn't get time.
Yeah. Calling it and getting it. One does not go with the other. Bounce foul by Carter.
You know, in '86, Gary Carter was one of the loudest guys by complaining about Scotty's pitches. He was saying before the game tonight that Bill Robinson, the first base coach, was making him talk like that.
Well, Robinson was also very vocal from the coach's box in '86 about it. High pop. Ramirez out, but Hatcher's on, and Hatcher's play to make. He had the best look at it, and it's 2 down. You're joining us a little late for one reason or another. Hatcher playing center, as Young had a slight hamstring pull yesterday, aggravated it in the game. And they just felt that with today and tomorrow being an off day and then not having to play till Friday night, this was a good time to rest that hamstring for the G-man. So thus the change, Hatcher in center and Poole in left.
You worry about it slowing the Astros down on the bases, but you wouldn't know it after the first inning.
3 stolen bases. Howard Jensen has flied to right. He's 0 for 1. A ball and no strikes.
That split finger was up. The one Carter just hit the center field was up.
I imagine when he gets through with this inning, Scott Ashby, Les Moss, and Lanier will have a little chat. 1 ball, no strikes.
Mossie's real good about watching a pitcher and noticing the technical part of the delivery.
Got that one where he wanted it. Johnson's 1 for 11 against our pitching staff. Take a look at where this was on him now. Whoa. Just roll it off the table.
Try that sometime. Sit at home with a stick or a bat and drop a ball off a table and see if you can hit it.
Boy, that looked pretty good. Scotty's shaking his head now. Fremming's strike zone has gone south in this inning.
Well, it stands to figure if Ashby catches a split finger and it's not in the dirt that it was high enough to be called a strike.
Two balls and a strike. Runner at second, Mazzilli. 2 runs in on a homer by Strawberry. Fouled it at Ashby's feet. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Hojo wanted that pitch.
Hurt us last year with 5 dingers.
4 of them here in this building. Watch him after it. Watch him. He goes, ah.
Had 1 to hit. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck hitter is the shortstop, Elster. Tomorrow off. The Cubs will be in for the weekend. Next Monday on Armed Forces Appreciation Night, the Pirates start a 3-game series in the Dome. Look to second and a 2-2. Line fouled on the right side. Good crowd on hand to see this battle between Mike Scott and Dwight Gooden. Has all the earmarks of drawing a crowd, that's for sure. And they came ready to yell, and yell they did in that first inning. A little intensity with the skipper, too. He's not missing anything. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at second. Got him. Side retired. Poole, Davis, and Bass in that order in the 4th. Ball 1 to Terry.
After tonight, these 2 clubs won't meet again until July 7th. In a doubleheader in New York. 5 games in 4 days.
That's a tough weekend to look forward to.
Now the doubleheader coming up because of the rain out last week.
2 balls, no strikes. In there, make it 2-1. White Sox would like to get out of Yankee Stadium with their suitcases locked. They're getting bombed again. Fouled off, 2-2. I think the Yankees scored 17 on them last night, and they're leading the White Sox 6-0 in the 7th inning tonight.
Some kind of comeback for Chris Chambliss, huh? 1 at bat.
Started after it. Carter looking back, thinking Fremming was going to ring him up. There was no appeal asked to the third base umpire. He's not going to give a signal unless the plate umpire requests one.
Next pitch better be over the plate, too. Fremming won't give him a corner after that.
Well, he got saved there. Didn't have to make a choice. So Poole works it for a walk to start the inning against Gooden, and here's Glenn Davis. Davis got credit for an RBI on a bouncer to the second baseman who was playing deep in the first inning with runners at second and third. With that, he took over the leadership in RBIs in the league with 27.
Gooden came in with an excellent walk-to-strikeout ratio, 12 bases on balls against 38 Ks. 3-1's not bad.
Toledo, the big bopper, strikes, and a 2-run lead is back.
First home run since April 29 for the bopper. Wow. They're saying, take that, Darryl Strawberry. Well, Hernandez walked and Strawberry turned it into 2 runs. Now Poole walks and Glenn Davis returns the favor.
Jacked it up in the orange seats and left. Enjoy this one again.
It's only the second home run Gooden's given up all year.
The crowd wants Davis to come out, but he's too busy being mobbed by his teammates. Four to 2 ball game, Houston. So we've seen a couple of big guys hit big home runs in this game. Kevin Bass, the hitter, swinging a foul out of play to the left side. And it happened just like it did in the top of the inning. A walk and then a dinger. Bass struck out swinging in the first inning. He's 6 for 9 in the series. He's the leading hitter on the club with a .290 average. Phillies have tied the Reds 3-3, 7th inning. Just when the Astros were going back in front on Glenn Davis's home run, his 8th of the year. There's a line drive hit into left center, and it will be stopped from going through the gap by Mazzilli. Bass gets his 7th hit of the series. The hit column is even at 3.
Well, Kevin started the year hot and went into a little bit of a slump, and now he's back on track at the plate.
And you know he feels good about getting that hit from the left side. That's where he's been struggling. Here is Walling, bounced out to Hernandez in the 2nd inning. Close. I'll tell you one thing, the way we took liberty with Gooden in the first inning, somebody turned in a scouting report.
A good one. This is only the second time all year Dwight Gooden has given up 4 earned runs in a game, and the other time was on opening day.
Pitch out, nothing doing.
And the Astros hope they're not through with him.
Astros with 4 runs and 3 hits. The Mets 2 runs, 3 hits. Nobody's made an error. Bass at first, out to the edge of the carpet. Got in the back door. He gets it over there.
Put a radar gun on those pickoff throws.
And makes it close. But Hatcher and Doran there, steals of second in the first. There were no contests. And then Doran stole home. Good scoop of that one out of the boy. Is that Hernandez? He is a fancy Dan around that bag, isn't he?
Oh, he helps his teammates a lot over there.
1 ball and no strikes. Bass looking right at him with a big lead. Not going anywhere. Swinging a foul out of play over to the left side. It'll go up about 8 or 10 rows at the far end of the third base dugout. With lots of things going on the weekend. Man, oh man. Well, we ought to have some marvelous crowds here Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. What a day it is for the youngsters on Saturday. The clinic at 9. Then a 12:20 first pitch with the Cubs. And that's the Fingers Furniture Jacket Day. A ball and a strike. Runner fakes a break, doesn't go. Strike called in the outside corner.
The pitching matchups for that weekend set. Friday night, Nolan Ryan against Jamie Moyer. On Saturday, Nepper against Nipper. And on Sunday, Darwin against Sutcliffe. Fastball just cut the corner.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Nipping off the front edge of that plate on that one.
Wonder if they'll be nipping with Nipper and Nepper in the Saturday game. Had to be on our toes to do that ball game.
What's this wee stuff?
Oh, you'll be working again. There's Bass going. The throw down. No, he's in there. So Bass is getting in on the running parade also.
Got a good jump. Ran on a curveball, an off-speed pitch. That'll get you another step or two. That was enough to get him in there.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Pretty good percentage right there.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Walling. Got a runner in scoring position.
Now Denny wants to pull the ball on the ground to the right side to get Bass over to third.
Ashby on deck. Now Gooden steps away. The Astros, who lead the league in stolen bases, now have 57. They're way over double what they had the same number of games last year in stolen bases. Boy, he had to have a good eye there, didn't he?
Everybody talks about Gooden's fastball and his smoke. But not unlike Nolan Ryan, he's got that really good curveball that helps his fastball.
And boy, he threw a couple of beautiful changeup curves in that 1 inning. He'll take something off that curve once in a while. In fact, he did it to Doran in the 3rd. Bouncer right side. He did it. It'll get the runner to 3rd. Hernandez steps on the bag, Walling out, but Bass is 90 feet away. Bass with a single, stolen base, and gets over to 3rd, and the Walling bouncer to 1st, and here is Ashby. Ramirez on deck. Astros are in front 4-2. They led 2-0 from the 1st until the 4th when Strawberry's 2-run bomb tied it. Then here in this inning, the Astros version of the Big Bopper. Yes, sir, Glenn Davis.
And Dwight Gooden will go from the stretch, Milo.
You betcha. Infield up tight on the right side. Shortstop up about 3/4. One ball, no strikes.
That's that fastball. You lay off a Gooden's fastball when it comes in about letter high, because by the time it gets to you, it's out of the strike zone. That's easier said than done.
Alan Ashby popped up in the 2nd. He's 1 for 8 in the series. Trying to get it in play and get Bass home. Bass at 3rd with only 1 out. Fly ball left field. That'll be deep enough. Mazzilli's there. Bass will tag. Bass will come home. 5-2, Houston.
Good aggressive at-bat for Alan Ashby. Doc threw him a curveball up, and Allen went with the pitch and got it out of the infield. Watch where this pitch was. Stayed back and waited on that off-speed pitch.
Now here's Ramirez, flied to right the first time up. Astros now with their biggest lead. They're in front 5-2. Fly ball right field. Strawberry moving a little toward right center will one-hand it. Side retired, but the under rights granted to Home Sports Entertainment. Not intended. Pretty good home run hitters do their thing. Strawberry and Glenn Davis. Like to see Scotty come back with a good strong inning here.
He struggled a bit last inning. Faced 6 guys. He had thrown only 26 pitches in the first 3 innings. Almost matched that last inning.
No ball and a strike.
Through 22.
Well, the good news from our old pal Charlie Angelo. He got out of the intensive care unit this morning after the operation last Friday. Gonna go over and see him tomorrow. There's a shot by a diving Doran. He just stayed right down. If it come up a little bit, maybe it'd have had a chance, but it was hit pretty hard.
Well, Billy had one over there last night that hit that lip and came up on him. Got the bad bounce. That one stayed down, and Billy D couldn't quite get to it. Elster stayed down well with the pitch.
All right, a runner at first, nobody out. Gooden the batter. He had a hit in the third inning. Expecting the bunt. Pulls it back. 1 ball, no strikes. Pittsburgh has tied the Dodgers 1-1 in the 8th. Yeah, Big Dwight can hit. He's hitting 200. Got a lifetime of 185.
Hitting 238 after that last hit.
1 ball, 1 strike. Texas continues to give the Orioles from Baltimore problems. 5th inning at Arlington, 4-0. Take this bunt look.
Watch it. You see, he's got his throwing hand pinched behind the bat, which is the smart way to do it. Not like Pascual Perez of the Expos. Wrapped his hand around the bat, and it got hit by a Nolan Ryan fastball. Broke his middle finger on his pitching hand. He'll be out 2 months.
Wrapped is the right expression. He got wrapped. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bunts it foul. Let's see if they leave it on now.
And once the hands are wrapped around the bat, they're considered part of the bat. You don't get credit for a hit batsman when the ball hits your hand.
Look at that long look.
Guy needs some mosquito spray.
Davy Johnson was looking at him, kind of had a little grin, as much say you had to do all that for what I sent you. Knocked down. Will be no play. Scotty got leather on it, but couldn't wrap it around it, and 2 men are on. It'll be a hit.
Well, he wasn't bunting. Obviously, Scotty tried to slap it and knock it down. Billy had already taken a couple steps up the middle to get it. Gooden runs pretty well, too.
Good athlete. Now, with the obvious, Doran will tell Scotty what he's going to call, and then he'll flash the sign to the other infielders. Dykstra trying to move runners up here. It's a 5-2 ball game, Houston. But New York putting on the pressure here in the 5th. First 2 men are on. He wasn't squared away, was he?
And if he does bunt, the Astros better play that well and be sure of 1, because Dykstra gets down the line in a hurry.
Dykstra checking in with Perlaza. Elster, second base. Gooden, first base. Nobody out. New York batting in the 5th, trailing by 3. Fly ball out into right center. Bass is not going to get it. It's up against the wall. Hatcher plays it off the wall. 1 run will score, and they've got runners at second and third. Boy, for not bunting, they came out of that in pretty good shape, didn't they?
Well, Dykstra hit it a long way. He bulked up in the offseason, added about 15 pounds in upper body strength. Took that low pitch outside. Book on him, you like to throw him inside a little more. He took that one all the way to the base of the wall on the fly.
He took Bass to the warning track the first time up. Six-game hitting streak for Dykstra, his 3rd hit in this series. Now here is Wally Backman with runners at second and third. That's in there for a strike. The runners on are the tying runs. Gooden third, Dykstra second. Run producing double by Dykstra. Got Elster home to make it 5-3. Strike 1 count to Wally Backman. He's bounced out and struck out swinging. Strike 2. Doesn't get any easier. Hernandez is due up next.
Well, these Mets keep coming at you. 9 of their wins so far this year. Almost half of them have come from behind wins.
No balls, 2 strikes. Look to third. Bouncer Doran. He will throw him out, and a run will score. Gooden steps on the pay station. It's a 1-run game. And Dykstra moves over to third, so the tying run is only 90 feet away.
That was the only play Billy had on that ball. Split fingered. Backman did a good job getting his bat on it, and Billy had to wait for the hop, only play to first.
Now a fly ball can tie it. Dykstra third base with 1 out. 2 runs in, 5-4 Houston. Infield up tight all the way. Hernandez, who has struck out and walked, came in with a 9-game hitting streak. A .290 batting average. On the tear he's been on, he's added over 100 points to his average. Foul back. Strike 1 to Hernandez, and he walked in the 4th after 1 away. Strawberry followed with a towering home run into the left center field pavilion.
At the start of this one, Milo, you would have thought you'd play for 1 or 2 runs with those guys pitching. Who would have thought there'd be 9 in through 4.5 innings?
Not with these 2 guys. Last night we talked about Cone and DeShays putting goose eggs up there. A little tight. 1 ball and 1 strike to Hernandez. Strawberry on deck. Elster and Gooden reached. They both scored. There were 3 straight hits in the inning. Elster, Gooden, and Dykstra. Then Backman with a bounce out got the 2nd run home. A ball and a strike to Keith Hernandez. 2 balls and a strike. He's got such a good eye, Hernandez.
He's always turning around and asking the umpire where the pitch was. Why was it a ball? Why was it a strike? He gets a way to reaffirm his own strike zone in his mind.
2-1.
You also figure out how the umpire's calling the strike zone.
Now Hernandez wants to make Scott wait a moment. Everybody ready again. 2-1 pitch. Smash. Foul just outside first. He never hits a ball softly. Well, I take that back. When they break his bat, like Darwin did the other night, then he hits a few dying quails, but boy, he takes some cuts.
Even when you break his bat, he gets hit, though.
2-2. Runner at third represents the tying run with 1 out. Fouled way up to the left. Well, he's fouled some off on him now. Let's see if he goes for the bread and butter that got him in the 1st inning, the split finger.
He's had the good split finger, but I don't think he's had the good straight fastball tonight like he's had in some of his other outings.
That's the way it's happening around the league. Ready for another 2-2. Fly ball right field. It is deep enough. Dykstra coming home. Throw is up the line. Tie game. So Hernandez with a sacrifice fly to right.
Well, split finger. He just trying to get the ball out of the infield, and Hernandez succeeded. Kevin set himself up well to throw then. The ball was just a little too deep, and Dykstra's a little too quick.
This is Strawberry. Foul back, strike 1. Strawberry flied to left in the 2nd. 4th inning, hit his 10th home run of the year. For the Mets, it was their 39th already.
Watch the slide here. He's looking at the back corner of the plate. Reach out and grab it. He doesn't do anything half speed.
A ball and a strike. In another era, he might have been a gyrene. Two balls and a strike. Strawberry batting, Mazzilli on deck. We're in the fifth. Oh, he put some time in a weight room this winter, I'll tell you that. He's really bulked up.
Got a new nickname. Called him the Hulkster.
Fouled off, and it's 2-2.
You think if you would have gone to Hallinier or Davy Johnson at the start of the game, so you're going to get 5 runs tonight, that they both would have had smiles on their faces.
2-2. Lined into left field, a base hit. Hit number 7 off Scott, compared to 3 hits for the Astros off Gooden. Strawberry's had 2 hits. Gooden's had 2 hits.
Well, it's a classic swing. Went the other way with the ball on the outside part of the plate.
You saw where his arms were. Boy, they were about out as far as they can get. Now here is Mazzilli with a bounce out and a base hit and a stolen base. So Strawberry is on. There are 2 down, 3 runs are in, and we're tied at 5. Pitch out, nothing doing.
Strawberry can run 6 for 9 in steal attempts this year.
It's not that he runs so fast, but with that stride, he can eat up a lot of real estate. He can get to second in about 4.5 steps. And there he goes. They're gonna get him. That's the best throw Ashby has made this year. Came off the pitch out. But the Mets get called out on strikes in the 3rd inning. Strike 1 to Scotties. He leads off the 5th. Fifth inning at St. Louis. Giants on top of the Redbirds, 3-1. In the dirt. Umpire will want to look at it. Hatcher due up next, then it'll be Doran. The Astros have gotten good mileage out of 3 hits. They've gotten 5 runs. Meanwhile, the Mets were getting 7 hits, scoring their 5 runs. Gooden treating him just like a hitter.
He's taking some pretty good swings. Neither one of these guys had given up 5 runs in a game yet this year.
Fouled into the screen. 1-2. Pittsburgh trying to pull one out in the 9th. They're tied with the Dodgers at a run apiece. Wasn't going to get called out on that one on a corner, was he?
Go out there and get it.
He got it called out on that one. 4 strikeouts, 2 swinging, 2 called, and up to the top now with Hatcher. Hatcher got hit by a pitch above the elbow in the 1st inning. Stole 2nd. Later scored on a Glenn Davis bounce out in the 3rd. Hatch bounced out to Hernandez. 5-5 tie, bottom of the 5th. Big roundhouse curve, and it's 1 ball, no strikes.
That looked like the one you were talking about where he took a little off of it.
Fouled up to the right. Count even, 1-1. Doran on deck, then it'll be Poole. Tomorrow off. Big weekend with the Cubs starting Friday night. Nolan Ryan will be pitching in that game.
Against Jamie Moyer, the little guy that had some success against us last year.
Smash. Oh, good stop by Wally Backman. That's one of those where a hitter says, can't hit it any better.
Hit it right at him, and he stayed with it well.
It's a foot either way, it's a hit. That's how hard he hit it. Boy, it got to Backman in a hurry. He fought it a little bit.
Makes an infielder glad he's playing on turf.
So Wally Backman makes the play. This is Billy Doran. And a base hit. They won't catch that one. Doran's 2 for 3. Hangs out a rope. A 2-out single. Hit number 4 for the Astros, and Doran has 2 of them. Davis has 1, a 2-run homer, and Bass has the other one, a single. Boy, right in there where you can jump on it.
And he did.
So Doran, who stole second and stole home in the first inning, and the crowd a little anxious here.
That's a pretty good streak.
Yeah, they'd like to keep it in that kind of a extended streak, because Hatcher and Doran were on in the first and scored. Bouncer. Second baseman got a charge, and Poole is out. Side retired. No runs and a hit, no errors, and Doran left. We played through 5 on HSE. A strike to Mazzilli to open it up in the 6th inning.
Well, you'd sure like to see Scotty get back on track and have an easy inning. The bullpen, with the exception of Smith and Meads, got some work last night.
A ball and a strike. Oh, he really took a cut. 1 and 2. Well, we want to wish Channel 8 a lot of success in their tele-auction tomorrow night. The honorary chairman, well, it's the Houston Astros organization. Bounce foul, right side. Channel 8, KUHT, tomorrow night. A lot of the ball players are going to be there. Hal Lanier, Bill Wood. If you're going to be watching between 6 and 7, you'll see Laurel and Hardy. There's a bouncer to first. Easy play for Davis. At least the 1988 version. Yours truly and the Wrangler will be there.
Which one's Laurel?
I don't care. I don't care, Ollie. But that'll be fun, and the Astros will unite to help in the Channel 8 tele-auction tomorrow night.
You guys going to do who's on first?
High fly ball that should be playable in right center. Hatcher takes charge. 2 down. So Carter is out for the 3rd time. Brings up Howard Johnson. Well, the G-Man will have an excuse when he comes tomorrow night to the tele-auction, and I know he's going to be one of the players. If they ask him to demonstrate base running, he can say, I'm one of the walking wounded. Johnson has flied to right and struck out swinging.
This is a guy.
Scotty has 4 strikeouts, walked 1.
The guy some of the people on the Sunshine Network might remember from Clearwater.
1 ball, 1 strike.
He's a stockbroker in the offseason. Another Floridian.
Tampa.
Not too far from Clearwater. Just across the bay there.
Just don't drive it between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. 2 balls and a strike to Johnson. Elster would be next. We're in the 6th inning. Game is tied at 5. The Mets have 7 hits. The Astros 4 hits. Nobody's made a miscue. 3 balls and a strike. The last 3 innings, Scotty has labored. He got the first 2 hitters in this inning quickly and easily. Mazzilli bounced to first. Carter flied to Hatcher in center. But he's fallen behind Howard Johnson.
Had some success against Tojo with a split finger. Come back with that one.
Nope, ran it up and in. Might have been the old guessing game. Figured he might be looking for it, so gave him heat. Bottom of the sixth coming. Still tied on HSE 5-5.
Well, if you can't get out to the ballpark this Sunday, when Sutcliffe pitches against Danny Darwin, you can catch that game on Channel 20 as well as the Astros on the road. 3 games from St. Louis and 3 more from Pittsburgh on the next road trip. All the action, the Astros away from the Dome on 20 Vision.
All right, here we go into the bottom of the sixth inning. Glenn Davis, who has 3 RBIs. They remember the big bomb he dropped in the 4th inning, and the crowd coming to life here again in the Astrodome. Davis got a run home in the first with a grounder to second. 4th inning, tapped out his 8th home run of the year with Poole aboard. He wasn't going to throw him a fastball there, was he?
That was a good pitch. Even if you do hit it down there, you're not going to be able to do much with it.
A ball and a strike. Reds and Phillies 3-3 in the 7th. Giants over the Redbirds 3-1 in the 6th. Dodgers and Pirates 1-1 in the 9th. Atlanta beat Montreal by a run, and the Cubs got a squeeze to beat the Padres in extra innings 1-0. Now they've gone to the 10th at Pittsburgh 1-1. Yankees have scored 29 runs in the last 2 nights against the White Sox. 17 last night, 12 tonight. Ran out of fingers and toes, but I got up to 29 anyway. Whoa, was that close.
Hey, Doc thought so too.
That was one of those you could call either way.
Oh.
A little outside. 2-2. Foul just enough, and I think that caught Carter a little bit. See him flinch?
Yeah. First I thought it hit his hand, then maybe I think it nicked his leg. Neither one feels good.
Yeah, I think it got him on the right leg the way he's kind of moving it around. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Davis leading off in the 6th inning. Bass on deck, then Walling. Astros have been out hit 7-4, but were involved in a 5-5 tie. Lines it into right, base hit.
Boy, he's been doing a good job hitting to the opposite field. Had a hit out there last night.
Especially after hitting the home run that he had to pull deep in the 4th inning. It shows that he wasn't up there thinking long ball again. If he didn't get a pitch to pull, he went the other way.
Disciplined. He reached out and got it. It's like if he hits the ball to left, it's deep. If he has to go the other way, he settles for just getting on base.
Davis first, his 2nd hit of the night, his 3rd hit of the series. Kevin Bass has struck out and singled and scored a run. 0-1 to Kevin. Walling has moved on deck. Bottom of the 6th inning in the Dome. For tomorrow it'll be quiet. Open date. Cubs Friday night, Saturday afternoon, an early game, 12:20. Sunday's game regular time, 1:35. Then Jim Leyland's Pirates. What an improved club, and if they come together in the last couple of years, they'll be here for 3 games starting Monday night. Fly ball out into left center. That ball's going to be caught on the run by Mazzilli.
A little bit too much air under it.
Yeah, hung up a little long. Mazzilli was able to run under it. Bass gave it a good ride. It's 1 down. Lee Mazzilli. He can play a role on a contender. Pinch hit once in a while. Give one of the outfielders a little rest once in a while. Pinch run. He knows his role. He also knows that he can't play every day anymore, especially with a contender. And Davy Johnson likes to use his people. Most good managers do. They know that there'll come a day when they don't want everybody worn out.
He changes his lineup even after wins, which is the indicator there.
Strike to Walling. Slow breaking pitch for an opener. Folks in the pavilion having a little fun with Strawberry. Working on Davis, not close.
You think he's used to that?
Well, if he isn't by now, they even do it to him at Shea, and it's his park. Look out! Almost took Gooden with him. Oh, my goodness. Boy, that's when that 60 feet 6 inches gets about as close as you want it to be. Oh, did he drill it?
Man, Denny looks mad. Watch the cut again. That's back through the box. Good hit. That's what
Alan Ashby, the hitter, he had a sacrifice fly in the 4th inning, got run number 5 home.
That's what a pitcher calls negative feedback, Milo.
Ooh. And you know, just another foot down, and it might have cold-cocked him. I mean, the ball was right at him. Juan Augusto is heading toward the bullpen. And Alex Trevino, who arrived in camp yesterday, going down to catch him. Carter having a chat with Gooden. 2 men are on. There's 1 out. And here was that. Look at it come back through the middle now. Oh, no. I thought he was going to show me the hit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mikey. Other one you set up at the center, you're going to show how close the ball came to Gooden. Obviously, I'm not following my horoscope. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two on. Davis second, Walling first. Hits put them there in between a fly out to left center that was hit hard by Bass. Two balls and a strike. Alan Ashby in this series has been limited to 1 hit and 8 at-bats. Has 2 RBIs, got 1 tonight in the 4th with a sacrifice fly. At that time, it made the score 5-2, but the Mets quickly answered with 3 of their own in the 5th inning. Ball 3 to make it 3-1. Rafael Ramirez is due up.
Good discipline on Ashby's part, laying off that pitch.
You're up there with 2 men on. You're anxious to help your club. A lot of hitters will chase that pitch. 3-1. He walked him. Bases are loaded for Ramirez. Second walk to go with 4 strikeouts on the Gooden card. Ramirez has flied to right twice.
You'd like to see Ruffy get the big hit here because Scotty's due up next.
Davy Johnson watching his big ace, Gooden. 3rd time in 6 innings he's had some problems. But right now, trying to get that big job out of Ramirez. Davis third, Walling second, Ashby first, 2 hits and a walk. Swing and a foul up to the right side. Rafi was right up there aggressive, but he got around late, and it's strike one. Giants get another run. They lead the Redbirds 4-1 in the 6th at Busch. Dwight Gooden has given up 5 runs on 6 hits. 2 of the hits in this inning. And Rafael Ramirez batting with the bases loaded and 1 down.
Yeah. That looked borderline.
Al Lanier with his pitching coach, Les Moss.
Rafi makes an out. Decision time for Hal.
You better believe it. And he's in a hole 0-2 against one of the league's best. One of baseball's best, Dwight Gooden. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Toronto beats Seattle. The Yankees bombed the White Sox. Texas clobbering Baltimore. And right here in the Dome, Ramirez trying to break the Astros through a 5-5 tie. Bases loaded, 1 out. A little flare, base hit. 1 run will score. They'll hold all the other runners. Rafael Ramirez gets a big hit. Remember, he was down in the count one time, 0-2. Davis scores the go-ahead run. Walling to third. Ashby to second. Ramirez with a little Diane Quayle. And they're going to lift Scotty. Watch this. Little inside-outside.
The pitch up and in. Not necessarily a strike, but close enough to do something with. And Rafi loves to push the ball to the opposite field. Couldn't have gotten 2, though, because Strawberry wasn't playing him deep. There's Strawberry's reaction to that base hit.
Davy Johnson, he doesn't have anybody throwing in his pen. The Astros do and will need to, out of necessity, not just warming somebody up, because Craig Reynolds is going to bat for Scott. Reynolds hitting .207. In limited playing time, he's had 6 hits, all singles, driven in a couple of runs.
Last year against Gooden, he was 1 for 7. Just needs to get the ball out of the infield here.
He was 0 for 1 in last night's game. For the year against the Mets, Reynolds is 0 for 2. Right now, he'd like to go 1 for 3. Bases loaded, 1 out. Curve in there.
A pinch hitter going up there cold like that, he's got to be looking for the fastball early. No way he's going to swing at a first pitch curveball.
So it's strike 1. Denny Walling, who singled, is at third. Ashby, who walked, is at second. Rafael Ramirez with a base hit to right, driving in the go-ahead run, is at first base. 6-5, Houston. Oh, 1 to the pinch hitter Reynolds. Swinging a foul back. Strike 2. He's batting for Scott.
Gooden gets ahead of those hitters. Tough situation.
In his career, he's 9-1 against the Astros. And since he's been in the league, that's against a Houston club of the 80s that's been one of the contenders every year. So it's not like he's beaten on up some tail ender.
That 1 loss was 4 years ago.
No balls, 2 strikes. Craig Reynolds got to be ready. Hatcher on deck. Bases loaded, 1 out. Fouled it up to the left side, out of play. Walling third. Ashby second. And there's Rafi, his hit put the Astros on top. The Astros have led 2-0, 5-2, and now 6-5. This crowd's in a festive mood, and Reynolds could really light them up right here. Just keep an inning going. No balls and 2 strikes. An Astro on every base. Ball gets away. Here comes Walling. 7-5.
That's got to be a pass ball. Carter got a little casual with that one.
Now you'll get to see it. Right there. Looked like it hit him on the thumb.
Almost a strike.
Seven to 5. Infield comes up tight for Davy Johnson's Mets. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Reynolds. Ashby third, Ramirez second. Popped it out behind the shortstop, but he'll back up and get it. 2 down. Now it's up to Hatcher to fatten the cat here. Hatcher is 0 for 2, but he kind of set the tone for the night, especially for the crowd, when he got hit by a pitch to start the first and stole a base. And scored the first run.
Hit 364 off Gooden last year, and this year he's got a slugging percentage of 379. Not a bad guy to have up there.
Trying to get Ashby home from third. Ramirez home from second. Astros leading 7-5. The hits are even at 7. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Down toward the bullpen as Hatcher acts like he broke his bat.
It's the same kind of pitch that Ramirez looped into right field, the up and in fastball.
Now Hatcher will work with a rosin bag and a towel down there that I'm going to sneak into one of those soap commercial, TV commercials someday. Got tobacco juice and pine tar and rosin, and I want to drop that in there and have the guy take it out of there and see how good it cleaned it.
Well, you better have some acid bleach, man.
You'd have to dissolve it to get it clean. No balls and a strike. You ought to see the way they wrap that thing to take it on the road. They don't want it touching anything. Look out. Low Bridge in Houston.
Yeah, let's see Billy step back in there and slap one back through the box.
Yeah, that's the greatest answer for that pitch.
You just know Doc's going to come back with the curveball on the outside corner, or something on the outside corner.
They've gone to the 11th in Pittsburgh. Dodgers and Pirates 1-1. Here the Astros have broken a tie, lead by 2. There it was, and came up empty with a 1-2 count now. Cleveland coming back to the rest of the folks. California leads them 3-0 in the second. Runners second and third, 1-2 to the hatch. Struck him out with a high, hard one, and the side is retired.
Pinch hitter Mark Carrion, who was just recalled from Tidewater May 8th when Dave Magadan was placed on the disabled list. Carrion fouls at 1 ball, 1 strike, as you saw. He was hitting .259 at Tidewater in 23 games, 4 homers and 12 runs batted in, and 3 steals. He made a splash in spring training with the Mets, hitting .341 in 20 games. Last September, 3 for 12 with the Mets, and Dwight Gooden out of the ball game, trailing 7-5. Ramirez on the run. Well, he got the big hit to give the Astros a 6-5 lead. Makes a big play there.
It was a good play because it was in the hole and he had to rush in to get it and throw on the run. Look at it again. Pretty good pitch, a low pitch. Rafi come charging up. And a strike to first. You know, last time Dwight Gooden gave up 7 runs in a game was June 18th of '86 versus the Expos. And he lost that game 7-4.
Mookie Wilson's the pinch hitter for Dykstra, taking ball 1. So the Mets and Davy Johnson play percentages with the switch hitting Wilson batting right-handed. And Augusto with that 2-run lead wants a new baseball. Wilson at 280, 2 homers, 11 runs batted in. As a pinch hitter, he's 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs. Wilson wraps out a base hit that could scoot through, and Terry Poole gets it at the warning track, but Wilson has a double. So Wilson reaches, and he'll undoubtedly stay in to play center for Dykstra.
Well, if you're going to give up those types of hits, give them up with 2 outs. Poole couldn't get over to cut it off. It was right up the alley. Stand-up double for Mookie.
Wilson also got a hit off Augusto last night. And now with 2 outs, he is at second base and with very good speed. Tim Teufel comes up to pinch hit now, and Davy Johnson really reaching into his bench. Teufel at 225 with 2 homers, 10 runs batted in, got the rest tonight as Backman got the start. As a pinch hitter, he's 0 for 2 this year.
He walked 3 times last night.
Ball 1. Teufel did not come up against Augusto in last night's game. Now Dave Smith begins to work in the Astros bullpen. They have a 7-5 lead. Teufel, though, has pretty good power.
Well, Hal Lanier would like for Augusto to get this out and hopefully get through the 8 and then go to Smitty.
Teufel hit a home run in New York against the Astros. Billy Doran comes in for a word of encouragement for Augusto. Well, the Astros bullpen has had some problems this season. Now you look at the Mets pen.
Randy Myers.
Two and 1, a strike that Augusto sorely needed. With Keith Hernandez on deck. That's a little bit earlier in the game than the Astros usually like to turn to Dave Smith.
Well, and you got the left-handers coming up after Teufel. But you'd like to pitch to him in the 8th inning with nobody on base.
Juan Augusto really on the spot right here. This is a game the Astros have battled for, and they have now taken the lead by 2. But he walks Teufel. Bringing up Keith Hernandez and bringing out to the mound Les Moss. Well, what left-handed hitters do up, and Hernandez and Strawberry, the Astros would like very much to leave Augusto in to get those southpaws. They don't want to go to Dave Smith this early in the ballgame either. So they're probably just talking with him about maybe a flaw that Les Moss saw in his delivery. Smitty is getting loose.
You don't like to bring back bad memories, but last night when Camacho came in, he got the first 2 guys he faced. And then walked a couple of guys and got out of that inning. Ran into trouble in the 8th.
Augusto went 2/3 of an inning in that game last night. And now Hernandez, who got a sacrifice fly in the 5th inning. He's 0 for 1 officially. Walked and scored back in the 4th. Ball 1. And walks were a big factor, as you mentioned in last night's game, with Camacho issuing 3 and Augusto 1. The Mets now up to 124 walks and 158 runs. 1-1.
Augusto, a good low ball pitcher, gets a lot of ground outs with the sinker. This guy's a good low ball hitter. Strength against strength.
Augusto has not allowed a run since the 16th of April. 1-2. In fact, in only one of his appearances has he been scored upon, and this is appearance number 10 of the season. He had a good spring. One thing is a balk problem, and he's really going to have to watch that. Time called. Hernandez walked away from the plate. 7-5 Astros in the 7th, and it seems that the Mets, a tough team to put away. They just keep coming at you.
You've got all those come from behind wins.
Well, they have 9 of their 22 coming from behind. 1-2 the count. Hernandez hits one hard the other way. Foul. Well, the Mets, of course, have seen a lot of left-handed pitching so far this year, but that can work to a club's disadvantage, too, if you're the other club, because they have seen a lot of left-handers.
And they've done a good job against left-handers.
Tap foul. Augusto got that pitch down nicely.
Hernandez hanging in there. We've seen him do that a lot this series. Looking for the pitch that he can do something with. He has to go way down to foul this one off. Just got a piece of it.
He is such a good hitter. Augusto having allowed just 7 hits and 2 walks in 12 1/3 innings. Less than a base runner per inning. Runners going, and the pitch is foul back. Mookie Wilson took off.
I'm not sure that's such a smart idea with a left-handed hitter. In a 1-2 count, Augusto wouldn't be throwing a good pitch, and Ashby was the best catcher in the National League last year, percentage-wise, at throwing guys out at third base.
Well, Wilson thought he had a chance. He stole second last night, his second steal of the year. He's been caught once. Of course, with 2 outs, he'd be running on any ball hit by Hernandez. Again, the 1-2 pitch. Ooh. 2-2.
Where's that new strike zone when you need it? Looked pretty close.
Like he surprised Hernandez. Has been pitching him low earlier and came up with one.
The veteran will get those calls sometimes.
Augusto gets Hernandez to end the top of the 7th inning. That is what could be a very big out for Juan Augusto. No runs, 1 hit. No errors and 2 left. 7th Myers. He is a flamethrower, and 2-0, 1.08 ERA, and 4 saves with a good start for Myers, Bruce.
What an earned run average. 8 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, only 1 base on balls. That guy throws smoke. Maybe the hardest throwing left-hander in the National League.
Billy Doran has been on base twice. He is 2 for 3. Strike 1.
Of course, he's following up a guy who threw pretty good smoke, too.
First appearance for Myers this season against the Astros. He was up a couple of times last night working in the bullpen. Doran has a big game going, and that steal of home cannot be overemphasized.
I think he might have. He's feeling that injured shoulder again after that swing.
That was some smoke. 1 ball and 1 strike. Myers got his second win of the season Friday night against Cincinnati in a 10-inning ball game. That's his only appearance in the last week.
The hitters are probably saying, well, this is just swell. We faced Gooden, and now they bring in a guy who throws harder.
Elster with 1 out. Myers was tied for second in the Rolaids Relief Man of the Month standings in April. Dave Smith, number 1. Number 1. Terry Poole.
Myers averaged 1.23 strikeouts.
Base hit to left by Poole.
Per inning.
So Terry stayed right in against a tough left-hander. For Glenn Davis, what a night he's had. 2 hits and 3 at-bats. A long home run. 3 runs batted in. Here's another look at that base hit by Poole.
That's a fastball, and he just went with it. You don't have to turn on that hard pitch. Just get some good bat on it. Oh.
High fastball fouled away as Davis tried to check his swing. Strike 1. Last year, Myers had 54 appearances with the Mets, and he appeared in 5 games with Tidewater. He had 6 saves, and he struck out 92 in 75 innings.
And somebody on the Mets staff did a good job scouting this guy. When New York drafted him, he pitched less than 20 games in his high school and college career.
One ball, 1 strike. The work that he did last year enabled the Mets to trade Jesse Orozco on to the Dodgers. They wanted to make room for Myers, and he showed enough last season to allow them to plan on the 1-2 punch of McDowell and Myers to close out games.
You know, the extent of scouting this guy might have been just putting a radar gun on him.
He averaged, well, this can't be right, the best mark among relievers in the National League for strikeouts per 9 innings.
I think that's 1.23 per inning.
Per inning, right. Out of play. 1-2 the count. And Myers, in a win over Houston last July, went 4 1/3. That was his longest major league outing, giving up just 2 hits and a run. He did pitch well against the Astros last year with a 1.64 ERA.
That long foul ball that Glenn just hit foul on the left side. He hits a lot of those, but he thinks by concentrating on hitting more to the opposite field, he's going to straighten out a lot of those long fouls.
Elster, and they've got a double play on Poole. It took off. Hernandez making the catch, and the double play retires the side in the 7th inning on the hard line drive by Davis. No runs on a hit. Astros still had their 2-run lead. Gusto got Keith Hernandez with 2 men on to end the top of the 7th. Ramirez had to go back to his right and makes a quick throw to get Strawberry. He was shifted up toward the middle on Strawberry. 1 out.
Augusto did a big job getting out of that last inning jam. Now he's gotten past the left-handed hitter, and the next guy's up. Well, Mazzilli's due up next.
He's going to bat.
Switch hitter, but he's much more effective from the left side than he is the right side. I think Augusto will stay in the game as long as he doesn't let anybody get on base. Otherwise, Smitty's loose in the pen.
Kevin McReynolds available on the bench for the Mets after not getting the starting assignment, but it's Mazzilli. Strike.
Mazzilli came in hitting 125, 2 for 16. Well, he's 3 for for 19 now. But he's 0 for 8 from the right side.
1-1. Chuck Jackson is getting loose in the Astros bullpen. Two balls and a strike on Mazzilli.
Johnson may be saving McReynolds for a right-handed pinch hitter with power. Waiting for somebody to get on base.
Probably so, because of that long ball threat. 3-1. Augusto finished last season strong, and the Astros brought him right back to their ball club. Now Hatcher retreats in center. 2 outs.
Didn't retreat at first.
No, he started in.
He kind of tiptoed backwards.
He's covering the ground in center with Gerald Young on the bench tonight. Now Gary Carter 0 for 3, and with that pass ball, what a large play that could be for the Astros, enabling them to score their 7th run and take a 2-run lead. Oh, you win a series from the New York Mets and you have a right to crow. You have a right to an off day. Ball 1.
Well, that ball really sunk.
Yes, it did.
Well, especially the way the Mets were playing coming in, and they've won 14 of their last 17.
Bass, with a long run, gets there to retire Carter. And Augusto makes it through his 2nd inning. This time in 1-2-3 fashion. Middle of the 8th inning, the Astros maintain their 7-5 advantage. Headed for the bullpen. Bass fouls it, strike 1.
They would have liked to pick up with that other run in the 6th inning if they could, because they had another man in scoring position and Craig popped up to shortstop. If they could have done that, I think they'd have been a lot more comfortable, especially with Smitty finna to come into the game probably in the next inning.
In the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike from Myers to Bass. Bass has all 3 of his home runs batting right-handed. Myers led the league in strikeout percentage against left-handed hitters last year. Fanned almost 40% of the left-handed hitters he faced. 2 balls and a strike. Dave Meads. Three and 1. And with the Astros having the off day tomorrow, there may be an announcement regarding Larry Anderson and/or Joaquin Andujar for the weekend series with the Cubs. We'll wait and see what tomorrow brings. Foul, and Dennis Menke had to do a little skipping to get out of the way there. 3-2.
Kevin's really swinging the bat good right-handed. He's struggled most of the year left-handed, and sooner or later he's going to get that side hot too. But right-handed, he's hit the ball hard practically every time he's come up to the plate. Watch this fastball inside, and he turns on it.
Tough play for the shortstop, Elster, and Bass will reach. He got his glove on the ball. The ball came up and hit off the heel of the glove. It's ruled a base hit. Now Bass is now 2 for 4.
He's really been hitting the ball hard right-handed. If he could ever get the other side hot like he's doing right now, he'll probably have a pretty good year the same year he had last year.
That's what he's really concentrating on. Swing from the left-handed side.
Well, Kevin works hard. He comes out a lot of times and hits extra, and he's going to get it together sooner or later. The Astros just hope he gets it together right now. They need it.
Walling fouls off a bunt attempt. Strike 1. He's 1 for 3 and scored a run after his base hit to center in the 6th inning. He came in on the pass ball by Carter.
Who would have thought that with Dwight Gooden pitching and Mike Scott that they would score 12 runs?
It is hard to understand. Good bunt. Carter makes the throw to Teufel. Sacrifice puts Bass at 2nd. Play going from 2 to 4.
That was a great bunt right there. You notice how Denny stood up in front of the plate and he got the bat right out front. See the bat out in front of the plate? And he puts the bat right on the ball and just bunts it right back up the middle.
Alan Ashby with a sacrifice fly back in the 4th and a walk in the 6th. One official at-bat. No base hits yet. But that RBI, a very big one for him. Now he's trying to pick up his first RBI as a right-handed batter this season. 7-5 Astros, last of the 8th inning. Dodgers have lost in extra innings at Pittsburgh 2-1. Ball 1, so the Astros could gain a game on the Dodgers. If they win this, they'd be 2 behind. Cincinnati and Philadelphia still tied 3-3. That game now in the 9th.
It's a big run right here, because if you get a run right here, you go up 3 runs instead of 2.
1-1.
So if somebody walks and they get on and then the home run is hit, then you're still up by 1 run. So this is a big run for the Astros right here. This shows if you can contend for a whole season or not. You have to concentrate and do these things. You have to get this run over.
Pickoff at second, but no throw by Myers as he looks at the second baseman Teufel. Moving in, Randy Myers is 25 years old. First-round draft choice in the secondary phase in June of 1982. Roger McDowell was in last night's game and got the save. 1-2.
This guy really throws the ball hard. He comes right at you. He jumps off the mound like Grabowski used to do. And when you do that continually, then you have the pitcher, the other players on the other team kind of paranoid at you. You say, why is he jumping at me like that?
1 ball, 2 strikes on Ashby. It will be out of play for Strawberry, and the count stays 1-2.
He comes at you so often that if he does throw a breaking ball here, he might get Ashby to swing at a bad pitch.
Good crowd, 29,565, and most of them have stayed for the late innings of this one. Friday night, the Cubs are in town. Ryan and Moyer. Saturday afternoon, Nepper and Nipper. And Sunday, Darwin and Sutcliffe. Broadcaster's nightmare Saturday.
Say that again.
Is it Nepp or is it Nip? We'll find out. Elster to third base, and Bass is safe. Howard Johnson missed the tag. Oh, that could be a major mistake, too.
Watch this ball right here. Now, it's 1 out, and the kid doesn't realize that if he throws the ball to first, he's got 2 outs and only 1 batter to go. But he tries to throw it over, then the third baseman, Johnson, does not get there in time, and he tags Kevin up high on the leg.
That was a good call by the umpire, Gary Darling.
Watch Kevin get his front leg in there.
Darling did not assume that call. He waited to see it. Rafael Ramirez came up with a big base hit to break a 5-5 tie back in the 6th. Now with runners at first and third and 1 out. Runner coming, squeezed by. Myers doesn't have a play, and everybody's safe. It is 8-5 Astros, and the squeeze works.
I think that's why Hal likes Ralphie so much, because he can do so many things with the bat. Watch him right here. This is a good play. The Astros don't do this too often. Kevin gets a good jump off of 30 and doesn't have a play.
Well, a base running by the Astros has created some runs in this game, and Davy Johnson now trailing by 3. Will go out to the mound. Myers didn't look as if he knew how to react on that play. Enos?
Well, he wanted to throw the ball at home at first, but then he saw he couldn't get Kevin because Kevin got a good jump off the bag. Then he turned to throw to second, and nobody was at second. And he turned to throw to first, and nobody was at first. So he didn't have anywhere to go. He was totally upset.
Ramirez got a single and an RBI. His second run batted in, and now Roger McDowell takes over. Jim Pankovitz is in the on-deck circle with Augusto scheduled up next. And it'll be McDowell, who came in last night, as we mentioned, worked 2 innings, gave up 2 hits and a run, and picked up his third save to go with 3 wins and an ERA of 3.
You know, that's unusual, Bill, for the Astros to do that because they hardly ever squeeze. You know, they don't have the type of players that bunt well on AstroTurf. And then they've got Rafael, and Rafael comes in and he does everything. He hit and runs well. He hits the ball on the ground. He goes to right field. He's a player that you need on a team like this, a player that is a role player and knows what he's doing.
Well, this could be a big night for Rafael Ramirez with these 2 important RBIs. And now the veteran McDowell with Pankovitz in the on-deck circle. The Astros now with a 3-run advantage. Really can't try to play for a big inning. Ashby is on at second and Ramirez at first base with 1 out. But they really don't have the speed at second base to do anything with it, although Kevin Bass, with that hustling play as he ran from second to third on the ground ball to short, was able to help the Astros manufacture a run. Hatcher in the on-deck circle. Pankovitz comes up to bat for Augusto. Scott could be the winning pitcher still, but Augusto could get a major contribution, although not a save, with 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, and no strikeouts.
That's middle relief. Nobody cares about you. Long as if you do bad, then they hate you.
Right.
If you do well, then you're an unsung hero.
You're right about that. Now Pankovitz with a strike, 0-1. Well, Jim got an awfully big base hit in game 1 of the series. Back in the 2nd inning and picked up an RBI. He was 1 for 4 in a starting assignment. Foul ball, 0-2.
Also, the reason that Panky's still hitting in this situation is because Gerald cannot hit. His leg is hurting him, and he's out of this game right here for a rest, and they don't have any more left-handers.
Pankovitz hitting .280 this season. As a pinch hitter, he's 1 for 6.
This will be a big boost for Panky, too, because he hit the ball good the other day when he started. So if he can hit the ball hard or get a base hit here, he'll have a lot of confidence for this weekend series, which he's going to play.
That's right. He'll be starting Friday night against Jamie Moyer of the Cubs. Fouls it. 0-2. And that, Hal Lanier said, is his plan for a while, to give Pankovitz the platoon assignment at third base against lefty pitching.
Oh, you had to do something. You needed some more offense against left-handed hitters, especially when you're not left-handed pitchers, when you're not scoring any runs. So putting Panky in there the other night, he got a couple of big hits for the guys and picked them up.
8-5 Astros. They have out-hit the Mets 10-8. And they haven't left many men on base. Only 3 so far. There is strike 3 call. Pankovitz is out number 2. And it'll bring up Hatcher. Well, Scott Medvin, who was drafted by the Astros, got the win tonight for the Pirates over the Dodgers, 2-1 in 11, beating Alejandro Pena. Billy Hatcher, after being hit by that pitch, stole a base, came around to score in the first. 0 for 3 officially. Ball 1.
Watch Billy. Billy's been pulling his front shoulder out a lot lately, and that's why he really hasn't been making really good contact and getting hits. He has to keep his front shoulder in because he pulls off the ball.
One and one. Well, if the Astros go ahead to win this game, Enos, they can reflect upon a lot of positive things happening. Having won a series from the Mets, one of the hottest teams in baseball coming in. Having beaten the likes of Gooden, Myers, and McDowell in one game thrown at them. And with Gerald Young on the bench. Teufel gets Hatcher to end the 8th inning. The Astros get an insurance run. 2 base hits, no errors, and 2 men left. Going to the ninth, the Astros are on top of the Mets 8-5 with a 1-1 record and a 2.45 ERA. Enos?
He's done well. He's a stopper. He's been here for a while, and he knows what to do. You know, he's always said that he didn't want to rest that much anymore. He wants to come in at least once every other day just to keep himself ready to pitch. And Hal has done that. They've talked to each other about it, and Dave was very liberal about that. He made sure that he wanted to pitch. He wants to pitch, and he doesn't want to get out of his think anymore.
Well, he has 4 saves and a win in his last 6 appearances. Last time out Friday night in Montreal. He went 2 innings, allowing 2 hits and 1 run. In an extra inning loss by the Astros. Johnson is 0 for 3. 8-5 Astros. Strike. Well, Johnson with Mackey Sasser there on deck to pinch hit for Elster. Johnson's hit a couple of home runs off one of the top relievers in the league this year, Todd Worrell. 0-2.
Well, he's coming right out with that breaking ball and getting that sinker down and the little curveball right there. Smitty has 3 pitches that he uses, and he throws them at any time.
He's had some problems over the span of his career against the Mets. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That extra run helps him to get a little more working room here in the ninth. Two balls and 2 strikes.
I think you can relax a lot more when you have a 3-run lead than a 2-run lead playing the Mets, because you don't have to worry about walking anybody. You can throw the ball right down the pipe.
And a base hit by Johnson right up over Smith's glove into center field. Last year against New York, Smith was 2-0 with a 1.93 ERA in 5 appearances. Lifetime he's 5-2, 2.79 ERA. Doesn't sound bad, but when you look at his stats against some of the other teams, he has been close to perfect against some of the clubs in the league.
Well, Smitty's been a good pitcher ever since he come into the league, and he hasn't had that much arm trouble. That's one thing that you want a reliever to do. Know that he's going to be out there and he's going to come in and do the job for you.
Now Mackey Sasser, the young catcher, fouls it, strike 1. He's pinch hitting for Elster, and Kevin McReynolds is on deck with the pitcher's spot due up next. Sasser came in the spring training trade, and he can do a lot of things. He can catch and play other positions. He's 4 for 8 so far with the Mets. Does not have an at-bat yet as a pinch hitter.
He was wanted by a lot of people, including the Astros.
Now, he's a good young hitter.
Plus, he's a catcher.
Doran, Ramirez, and that's all they get. Ball slowly hit. Ramirez making sure he got the out at second. 1 out.
That's good infielders right there, veteran infielders, because they know they're not going to get the double play, so they're not going to do anything foolish in this situation. You want to make sure you get 1 out, and that's exactly what Billy and Ralphie did.
Now Kevin McReynolds batting for Roger McDowell. Mets trailing by 3. McReynolds is 2 for 8 in this series with an RBI. Ball 1.
Looked like a pretty good pitch right there by Smitty.
And he takes a little walk after that call. McReynolds is a .268 hitter at the moment with 3 homers, 12 runs batted in. Does not have an at-bat as a pinch hitter. 2-0.
This is where Smitty just got upset on the first pitch not being called a strike, and now he's upset, and now he throws a bad pitch. Now he has to get himself together and come right back and get him.
3 balls and no strikes. Well, if this were a 1-run ball game, things would be getting a lot more jumpy in some of the stomachs on the bench right now.
Always helps to get that other run.
Yes, it does. There's a strike, 3-1.
So if it was just a 2-run game right there, he would be scared to throw that pitch because the hitter might be swinging on that. But now he takes. Now if he makes a good pitch, he might be able to get the ground ball double play.
Walling takes a bad hop on him, and he won't get anybody. It's an error on Walling, his 4th of the season.
That's that dirt over there. Hal was talking about that today, and he said if they don't get the dirt fixed here, or the lips right around the seams of the AstroTurf, that somebody's going to get killed out here. That ball hit right on the seam almost, right in front of right there in the dirt. The ball just jumps up at you.
He did block it with his body, prevented any further advance by the runners. Now Mookie Wilson, potentially the tying runner at the plate. And he fouls at strike 1. Wilson delivered that double to left center field in the 7th, and then Augusto, after a walk to Teufel, pitched out of trouble getting Hernandez. It was a very big out. Mets have the advantage of Wilson being a switch hitter as he now turns around to bat left against Smith. Oh, and 2. 1 out and 2 on in the 9th with the Astros up by 3.
People have gotten kind of subdued, you know. Before they were real lively, and now they know that the Mets, any one of them can hit a home run. So everybody's kind of sitting back wondering what's going to happen.
That's right. Walling, slowly hit grounder, throws, and safe. Glenn Davis can't believe the call by Terry Tata. The bases are loaded for Teufel.
Tough play here, too, because it hits in the dirt and it slows it down. Watch it hit right here in the dirt, and the ball's a chopper. So then he has to come quick, which he does. Now he gets a good throw off. Now we got to see what happens. He beat the ball. He beat it.
And the Mets have the bases jammed. Tim Teufel, who walked in the 7th inning, could give them the lead with a long ball. Teufel hitting .225. He takes the ball 1-0. Teufel has 2 homers. He's driven in 10 runs. One and 1. Well, before this game, the stats on the starters for the Astros, their record 14-6, and the relievers 3-7. The bullpen ERA about a run and a half per game higher.
The Mets have come back to win out of their 22 victories 9 times.
Yes, they have. A long drive. Terry Poole will look up, and it's off the top of the wall. Here's the third runner trying to score, and he will come in. Mookie Wilson to tie it. A 3-run double by Teufel, and Davy Johnson wants a home run. He thought the ball hit over the yellow line, and he wants a grand slam for Teufel. The game is tied 8-8.
Here we'll see the ball right here. Here it goes up against the wall. Now it hits on the blue, right below.
Yes, it was below the line.
Just gets down under the yellow line. Think they're conferring, but I don't think they're going to do anything because the umpire was already out there.
The second base umpire, Jerry Davis, went way out in the outfield, as far out as he could get. Davy Johnson pleading his case with Bruce Fremming. And Teufel gets 3 runs batted in on that long blast to tie it 8-8, a double for Teufel.
Here's the pitch. It's a changeup that just stays right there down the pipe, and he hits it hard, too. Nobody has a chance to catch this one. You just hope the ball stays in the park.
So 3 runners score, and there's 1 out, and Keith Hernandez at the plate. This is not the matchup that Hal Lanier wanted. And they'll put Hernandez on. He is 9 for 15 lifetime against Dave Smith. So he gets the intentional walk. And they will work to Strawberry. Dave Meads has been throwing in the pen. He got up right after that double by Teufel, and he's had a chance to throw several pitches. He was up earlier. Oh, we'll see what kind of move Hal Lanier might make. Hernandez has a walk, a sacrifice fly in the game. Now the intentional walk. And let's take one more look at that long drive by Teufel, looking through the netting in left field, through that fence up there. It's pretty hard to pick out. It's a good thing the umpire wasn't back there to make the call. Now Strawberry, who had the long home run earlier. He is 2 for 4. And he taps it foul, strike 1.
The only hit that Strawberry has off of Dave Smith is a home run.
In fact, that was the last regular season home run Smith gave up in July of 1986. Covering the last 88 innings. One ball and 1 strike.
He'll be tough to double up, too, because he runs so fast. They're going to just have trouble with him, I think. You know, you got to keep the ball away from him and hope you can strike him out.
High chop going foul, and it is foul. 1 and 2. Strawberry has not grounded into a double play yet this year.
Well, Smitty has not pitched since last Friday, too, so that might have something to do with it because it looks like he's not comfortable out there and he's not throwing the ball well.
Mazzilli is on deck. The Mets have had bullpen activity for a while. Right-hander Terry Leach and lefty Gene Walter out there now, not throwing at the moment.
Doesn't look like Ashby and Smith can get together, too, on the signals. He's giving him a bunch of them, and he hasn't decided yet what Smitty wants to throw.
Two and 2. Strawberry's home run back in the 4th was his first hit in this series with the Astros this season in 12 at-bats to that point. And then he got another single in the 5th inning. Was thrown out trying to steal. 2-2. Glenn Davis to the bag, and Strawberry is out number 2 with the runners advancing to 2nd and 3rd. Teufel at 3rd, Hernandez at 2nd base, and Mazzilli to the plate.
As Bruce said, he's a better left-handed hitter than right-handed hitter, so he'll be trouble in this situation. Here's another look at the ball.
It's quite a contrast there with that bright blue wall against the dark back wall.
They thought that was going to help them see.
Ramirez and Walling. Walling wants it and has it to end the top of the 9th inning, but the Mets tie it. They come up with 3 runs on 3 base hits, 1 error, and 2 men left. The last of the 9th coming up. Doran, Poole, and Davis due up for the Astros in an 8-8 tie. First save in a couple of years. Leach with 20 hits allowed in 18 1/3 innings, and he's much tougher on right-handed hitters. You see Mackie Sasser, who stays in the game at 3rd base after pinch hitting for the shortstop Elster. And they had to come up with a shortstop, and he is Howard Johnson, who moved over from third. So the Mets have made those changes, and they go to the submariner of Leach, with McReynolds staying in the game in left field, too. And he is batting in the number 9 spot. Well, this is some kind of ball game, Enos Cabell.
Well, who would have thought that they were going to score 16 runs with the 2 guys pitching? Scott and Gooden.
You're right about that. And, of course, Scott no longer can be the winner now that the Mets have tied it, so he's lost his opportunity.
And they've gotten Gooden off the hook.
Yes, they have. Billy Doran leads it off in the 9th. He is 2 for 4. He slaps one to left base hit. Good start for the Astros as Doran reaches for the 3rd time.
This is where you should win it, too. If you're a good team and you're going to contend, you have to go with your top of the lineup. And they have Billy leading off, Terry Poole hitting second, and then coming with the big bopper, Glenn Davis.
Poole has walked and singled, been on base twice, officially 1 for 3. And he is a good bunter. And Sasser new in the game at third base.
Here's a good situation for Hal, too, because he can bunt him over, or he can hit and run, or he can let Billy steal. Whatever he does, he's got the advantage.
That hit by Doran, only the 2nd off Leach by the Astros. In 5 1/3 innings he's worked against them this year. He makes a toss to first. Doran with 2 steals in this game. Now has 8 for the season in 8 tries. Poole lays down a bunt that goes foul. Strike 1.
It's got to take Leach a long time, too, to get rid of the ball because he's straight up, and all of a sudden when he turns, he watches you turn his left shoulder in, and then he have to come down under because he throws from underhand. So you can get a good jump off of him.
In this situation with an 0-1 count, will the Mets come in with a pitch out, do you think?
I don't think so, because Gary hasn't thrown him out with either.
Sasser creeping in at third. Hernandez will hold Doran before he gets on the move at first. High. 1-1. Leach was really quite an important player for the Mets last year as they had all kinds of injuries to their pitching staff, and he stepped in and won 11 ball games. The Mets are sending their lefty Gene Walter down toward the bullpen mound. Glenn Davis is in the on-deck circle. Poole bunts it, and it trickles foul again. 1-2.
It's a tough situation now. Now I think he's probably going to let Billy pick his pitch and run. I don't think he'll let Terry Poole bunt again because he can't hit the ball and he doesn't hit into too many double plays.
Sasser still playing it in tight at third.
And also he's a catcher.
Yes, he is. Back off the rubber is Leach to take a look at first base. Strawberry moves over a step toward the right field line. 1-2 pitch coming to Poole. 2-2.
If you're going to do something, this is a good pitch to do it right here. Because if he throws a strike, Terry Poole's going to swing. And if he throws a ball, then Billy probably can get a good jump and steal the base.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out. Last of the 9th inning. The game tied at 8. Bobbled and out at second. Teufel just recovered in time to get the 1 out, but not 2.
This ball hopped up on him too. It hit. I think it hit right in that dirt and then jumped up on him. He's fumbling with it. He just gets there.
And Teufel agonizing that he did not get a double play. Now Glenn Davis comes up. Davis has driven in 3 in this game. Each club has 8 runs on 11 hits. The Astros have the only error. Davis officially 2 for 4. And time is called.
Yeah, I don't think he has a good move. Usually pitchers, when they go into a stretch and they don't make a move, it's because they want to throw over, but they don't have a good move, so they don't throw over. So you probably can get a good jump off of him.
Poole not going, and Davis taps it foul. Strike 1.
Always when I was on first and I knew a pitcher liked to hold the ball, I knew that he didn't have a good move, so I would try to get off an extra step and a half and try to make him throw over. If he didn't throw over, then I was going because I knew he couldn't pick me off.
Poole has 2 steals and 2 tries so far this year. Davis down the line and right, and deep for Strawberry, who catches up with it on the warning track. Out number 2.
Usually that's a double, but I think the Mets have seen that Glenn is starting to hit the ball the other way a lot, so they're playing him almost straight away in the outfield. They're not playing him in the pool, they're playing him straight away.
Terry Leach, who had knee surgery right after the season last year, 34 years of age. Signed in May of 1984 as a free agent by the Mets Tidewater Farm Club and worked his way to the major leagues. Now he faces Kevin Bass. Bass is 2 for 4. He has scored twice. He's 0 for 2 against Leach this year. Runner going. Throw by Carter, and they call him out at second base. With Johnson taking the tag, it's a caught stealing from 2 to 6. The game heads to the 10th inning for the Astros in the 9th. No runs, 1 hit. No errors and nobody left, and after 9, it's the Mets 8 and the Astros 8. Carter's 0 for 4.
Smitty's definitely all over the place. He's not controlling any of his pitches. He's wild up and he can't get his arm through.
2 balls and no strikes.
The Mets don't give you any breaks, do they?
3-0.
Coming from behind like that.
Smitty's got to step out and take his time and try to get himself together because he doesn't have an arm release at all anywhere. He's just throwing it.
And he walks Carter on 4 pitches. Well, the Mets are not a group you can count out. That's the 3rd walk for Astros pitching. Brings up Johnson. He is 1 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. And they might look for a bunt here. Although with Carter on at first, they do not have good speed at first. Jeff Heathcock heads for the bullpen for the Astros.
So does Dave Meads.
Johnson has bounced into 2 double plays. He bunted that one off his foot. Strike 1.
There's the bunt. You see the bunt. He tries to hit the bunt instead of putting the bat out in front of the plate like Denny Walling did. He put the bat out in front. He tried to hit it, and if he did, he might have hit the ball back to the pitcher where you could get a double play.
After seeing that, you wonder if Davy Johnson will order another bunt here. Each club has 11 base hits and 8 runs. Heathcock and Meads. 1-1.
another classic pitcher's duel, right?
Scott and Gooden.
Everybody came looking for 30 Ks, and he ended up getting both of them getting knocked out of the game.
They each struck out 5. Gooden gave up 7 runs and Scott 5. Two and 1. Well, Smith definitely not at his sharpest tonight.
No, he's leaving his arm out. Every time he goes in, he's not compact at all, and he's leaving his right arm out. And that's why the ball is flying out high to the right.
How much of that is due to inactivity, Enos?
It has to be, because he doesn't like to stay from not pitching too long.
Smith can't get it. It's a base hit to center field. Carter takes the turn and holds as Hatcher comes up with it quickly. So the Mets get a break when Johnson doesn't lay down the bunt, and he gets a single.
Another pitch right out over the plate. Base hit up the middle.
25-year-old Mackie Sasser to the plate now. He came in the spring in the deal with Pittsburgh for Randy Milligan and Scott Henyon. He and Tim Drummond is in the minor leagues now. Sasser bunts, and Walling lets it go foul. He slipped, and the ball hit him when it was in foul territory. That was close.
That was a break.
No, because if he had touched that ball in fair territory, he wouldn't have gotten anybody.
This is a tough play right here. You know that you want to let the ball go foul because you can't get the man at third base, and then you fall. Then you're embarrassed, and you're hoping that the ball is foul.
And it was, as you could see. 0-1 as Fremming made that call.
That's close.
Walling to third, and he gets a force out. Ramirez taking the throw. Carter is out number 1.
You know they have the slow runner at second, so they put on the play where the shortstop breaks to second, and then he goes straight to third. And if you bunt the ball hard at the third baseman and he makes a good play, you can get the man at third. Watch this. This is a good play right here. Got Carter by a mile.
McReynolds at the plate. Runners at first and second and 1 out. McReynolds reached on an error by Walling in the 9th inning and then stayed in to play left field. He smacks one off the glove of Walling into left. And here comes Howard Johnson to score a go-ahead run, 9-8 Mets.
It's a hanging breaking ball right there, Bill.
Kevin McReynolds, who came into the game late, drilled one. Walling almost got it here, Enos.
Yeah, this ball is hung right over the middle of the plate. Then he goes up and goes off the top of his glove.
And now Dave Meads is being waved in from the bullpen. Well, this is unusual indeed when Hal Lanier goes out to take Dave Smith out of a ball game.
He's gotten so many people out in those situations that it's tough for him, too, to realize that he didn't do the job, especially with a 3-run lead going into the top of the 9th.
A tough night for Dave Smith. He's seen far better ones than many of those. Now Dave Meads, and this is interesting, Bruce, because Meads might be ticketed for Tucson. Hard to figure out what's going on.
Well, when Anderson and Andujar come off the DL, a couple of pitchers get to go back down, and the last 2 pitchers who came up were Camacho and Meads. But Meads is kind of the Astros' designated pitcher against this ball club. The one game at Shea, he threw 4 1/3 innings against them, gave up just the 1 home run to Howard Johnson, and pitched well besides that one batter. And he had some success against this ball club last year.
And the big reason that Meads was recalled by the Astros was to pitch against the Mets with these 2 series coming up when they made the move.
You go back and think of the 2 ground balls to third base in the 9th. One of them hit that lip, and Denny couldn't find the handle on it, and the other one was just one of those swinging bunts that you don't have a play on. And both those guys ended up scoring. Like Enos said, Smitty wasn't sharp.
No, he was definitely not sharp. He kept his arm was always out to the right and high. And anytime you do that, you're going to stay high with your pitches. They're not going to get them down low. And he got a couple of bad breaks. The ball that hit the seam on Denny for the air, and then the swinging bunt. You win championships when you don't hit the ball hard and then you score runs like that.
Teufel hit the ball hard.
Yes, he did, but that ball was right down the pipe, too.
9-8 Mets. Mookie Wilson against Dave Meads, who had those statistics at Tucson. And Wilson got the base hit in the 9th inning off Dave Smith. He's 2 for 2. Strike one.
He needs to get out of this inning without giving up another run so the Astros still have a shot.
Meads did a good job in long relief at Shea Stadium in that ball game.
It's the longest outing by any Astro reliever this year.
1 ball and 1 strike on Mookie Wilson. 3 1/3.
4 1/3. Was it 3 1/3?
We'll check. Two and 1 the count as Dave Meads tries to get Wilson to hit the ball on the ground, and he's a tough man to double. The Astros with Bass, Walling, Ashby due up, last of the 10. Two and 2. 4 1/3 on Meads.
Good fastball right here. He's thrown him a couple of breaking balls, and then he comes hard with a fastball.
Three balls, 2 strikes.
Got that same guy on deck now, the one that likes to hit with the bases loaded.
Walling, Doran, and too late at first base. Throw to third now, and they've got a rundown on Sasser with Ashby and Ramirez, and they got him. He rounded the bag too far. That's alert infield play by the Astros to get out of the 10th inning. But the Mets take the lead. They get a run on 2 hits. No errors, and 1 man left. And in the middle of the 10th, it's now 9-8. The Mets on top. Ball 1 to Bass, who has extended his hitting streak to 4 games. Howard Johnson, 1 out.
You know, Johnson's become a pretty good infielder since he was with Detroit when I played with him. Sparky used to take him out for defense all the time because he was a third baseman. And we used to call him brick hands. But he's much improved since then.
Walling with a single and a run scored back in the 6th, 1 for 3. Ball 1. Lefty Gene Walter. Right-hander, I believe, is Jeff Enos in the bullpen for the Mets. And Walling fouls it. 1 ball and 1 strike to Denny.
One thing about these 2 hitters up, Denny and then Ashby, both of them are low ball hitters, so they should get some pretty good cuts off the pitcher, Leach.
Has a good eye. He wants one just a little bit closer to the strike zone.
Another fastball.
Teufel, 2 outs. Now Alan Ashby, 2 for 6 lifetime against Leach. With a sacrifice fly back in the 4th, Ashby got his 14th RBI. Now he tries to get something going with 2 outs in the 10th inning.
We saw him hit a home run late in the game in Montreal to keep it alive.
Hernandez moves over a step toward the line at first. Ball 1.
Usually sinker ball pitchers, they really have a tough time with left-handed hitters, especially right-handed. They're right-handed sinker ball pitchers. Left-handers usually get pretty good cuts off of them.
2-0. Larry Anderson hoping to come off the disabled list. Still able to lend some moral support. 3 balls and no strikes.
Larry's not the only guy hoping he'll come off the disabled list.
Tough night for the bullpen. There's the walk to Ashby. And there may be a pinch runner. Chuck Jackson comes out. He will go in to run for Ashby with Ramirez coming up.
I didn't think he would give him too much to hit because he's the only left-handed hitter that you have left to hit that probably can hit the ball out of the park.
You're
so
right.
You don't want to give him anything good to hit. And they had Raphael on deck, and he's a right-handed hitter.
Steve Henderson comes out in the on-deck circle now as Ramirez is at the plate with those 2 runs batted in. And the squeeze bunt working for him in the 8th inning. 9-8 Mets, last of the 10th with 2 outs. Strike call.
Also, Ralphie right here in this situation, he'd probably have to hit the ball off the top of the wall like Teufel did to drive in Jackson because they're playing so deep. They're not letting any ball get over their head. If it goes over their head, it's going off the wall or out of the park.
Like what Teufel's hit, though, there's 2 outs. Jackson can be running on anything.
0-2.
There was 1 out on Teufel's, wasn't there?
Yeah, but when he hit that ball, you knew that ball was in the gap or off the wall or somewhere. Nobody was going to catch up with that ball.
Yep.
Teufel, and the Mets have won it 9-8 with a dramatic 3-run 9th inning and a run in the 10th. The Mets come out with a victory and win 2 out of 3 to take the series. In the 10th inning for the Astros, it's no runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left. And the final score as the Mets win for the 23rd time this year, the Mets 9 and the Astros 8 in 10. Tonight's Texaco star of the game is Tim Teufel, who came up with a big 3-run double in the 9th inning to tie it. And Tim Teufel, our Texaco star of the American Road. The executive producer of Home Sports Entertainment is Jack Stanfield. Senior producer of Astros baseball and producer of tonight's game is Mike Anastasiou. The associate producer is Shelley Harper. And remote facilities are provided by John Crow Productions. Don't forget, join us for our next HSE telecast when the Astros take on the Chicago Cubs, Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Stay tuned. Coming up next is our post-game show, sponsored by the Houston Post. We'll have scores, highlights, and a scouting report on the Astros' next game. Once again, tonight's final in a thriller. In 10, the Mets beat the Astros 9-8.